Let's change our scope just a tiny little bit and have a look at the Germany-specific crypto market. Our next guest, Florian Döhnert-Breyer from F5 Crypto, will talk about exactly that. So let's welcome him with a warm round of applause. And Florian, the stage is yours. Have fun.
Thank you, Marcel. All right, so let's talk about German-speaking crypto funds, and I'll give you an overview. I talk about the challenges and about the future of crypto funds. In the unlikely case you don't know F5 Crypto, we are a crypto asset management firm from Berlin, based in Berlin, and we have a BaFin-registered crypto fund running right now. All right, so that's me. I'm the CEO and the fund manager. I'm the master of BA. I consider myself as a serial entrepreneur, and I'm in the crypto space for quite some years already. All right, so in the end, you're gonna hear from my perspective, from my experience, how a perfect crypto fund looks like. First of all, I give some free advertising. I will talk about the crypto funds, the German-speaking crypto funds out there in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Luxembourg. And our research team categorizes normally the crypto funds into 4 categories. You can see them up there. We have early-stage crypto funds, mostly on the VC side, going into pre-sales, ICOs, and shortly after. We have liquid crypto funds that invest into funds, into cryptos, physical cryptos that are traded on exchanges. We have hybrid funds that also invest into physical cryptos and also into equity of crypto companies, for example, like Coinbase. And we have crypto funds that focus on trading and especially having some kind of strategy behind that, for example, doing arbitrage. Those are the 4 kind of categories we set up for crypto funds. I just want to go quickly over them. For early stage, the most well-known are Blockwall, Greenfield One, Cherry Ventures Crypto, and SMAP Capital, and probably all have them here, those guys in the room. Crypto funds, liquid ones. We are a liquid crypto fund, the F5 Crypto. We also have Haug Aufhäuser Lampe in the game. We have Immutable Insight and Iconic Holding. We have some more. We have a new one from Austria, which is the Tigris Web3, and we have one from Postera and one from Crypto Finance. Hybrid ones, maybe one of the most well-known is Bit Capital. We have Blockwall again with a second fund. We have CoinX, L1 Digital, and we have Block Asset Management from Luxembourg. In the end, we have 4 more which are significant in the trading sector. 4 cryptocurrencies from Germany. We have CAC21A Capital, and we have 3 more from Liechtenstein, and you can see them right on the slide here. All right, so the quick summary is we have many, many pilot funds. They are very small, actually. It's mostly their first fund, and they mostly have not more than 10 or 20 million assets under management. There are some which have about 50, but most of them have like a single million digit in assets under management. And most of the crypto funds are liquid or hybrid funds right now. So that's about the overview. And now I will go into the major hurdles we experienced while setting up a crypto fund. And I figured out 4 categories. We had the legal part, we had the regulator part, we had to deal with the partners and with the investors. And I want to go into those points first. So how do you set up a crypto fund? It's pretty complicated, actually, and you need like a lot of money and legal work and attorneys and time to set it up. For example, we needed more than 1 year to set up our fund, and you have to decide, or the basic assumption is, are you a liquid crypto fund or are you illiquid? Are you open or are you closed? And as of this criteria, you have to select a structure. You can use the GmbH and Co. KG structure, or you can use the investment AG structure we used, for example, in order to guarantee weekly subscriptions and redemptions, for example. And you also have to consider your investors base, right? So are they German investors? Are they German-speaking investors? Are European investors? And So you need to adapt your legal structure to your investment base as well. And on the fund side, you also need to know, do you want to minimize the taxes you want to pay, and then you choose maybe another structure than the other. All right, so the next big issue when you set up a crypto fund is talking with the regulator. And of course, at least in Germany, you have to talk with the BaFin, or you have to discuss with the BaFin. And we had two major discussions actually with the BaFin. And the first one was, are the asset managers actually eligible to run a fund? Because you need to have some kind of experience. And who has experience with a crypto fund? All crypto funds are pretty new actually. So I am eligible. Seems like. On top, you have to discuss with the BaFin, what does diversification mean? Can we invest 100% into Bitcoin in the crypto fund? That's not allowed. Can we do 50-50? Maybe this sounds like diversification, but even that is not allowed. So you need to individually discuss how much you can have in a position at a maximum, because diversification is not defined per se. And for example, we agreed on 45% in one crypto asset as a maximum. If you overpass this threshold, you have to liquidate this position. You have also discussions with the financial authorities, of course, with the Finanzamt, on whether your fund gets taxed or not. So some funds pay 0 tax, some funds pay 15%, and some pay 30%. So there's kind of randomness, and it really depends on how strong you are with your arguments and how good you can discuss actually. Next step, and this is probably interesting for all the people here, is getting partners for a crypto fund. So theoretically, if you have a registered crypto fund in Germany, you could do it by having a Binance account and a ledger. So that's pretty simple, but most people want to do it seriously. So they implement or they make use of partners. So what partners do you need for a crypto fund? You need a crypto trading bank or institution or exchange. You need a crypto custodian. You need a securities depository. You need auditors. You need accountants. You need a fund administration. All those partners should be in the game if you take a crypto fund serious, and if you plan to not even have a registered crypto fund. Well, to get you're prepared to make it a regulated crypto fund. And on the other hand, when you found all those partners, which is complicated and takes a lot of time, you need to execute with them. You need to run the fund, and most partners did it for the first time. So it's a lot of learnings and lessons learned and a long process, because who accounted a crypto fund before? Like, not a lot of people. All right, and the last and most important step for a crypto fund is to get investors, of course. And in Germany, crypto funds only can accept semi-professionals and professional investors. So there's a limit so investments start from 200K euros in Germany if you want to invest into a crypto fund. And you need to make them aware of your fund, you need to make them aware of crypto assets, and why active crypto asset management is actually important. And what happens is that we normally educate our investors over a period of time, over weeks, until they invest into funds like ours. All right, so you can say, as a quick summary, there's a lot of legal work you have to do, regulator work, so bureaucracy. The execution with the service providers is on a very kicking off level, so it's like pilot execution. And investors normally start with small investments, so with a minimum investments or test investments, as I mentioned it here. All right, so let's get into the future, how I want to be a crypto fund, how a dream fund maybe looks like. And we figured out 4 categories where funds could be made a lot better. And I will talk about the on-off-boarding, the digitization of shares, delivery worth payment, and the custody. And in general, you can say that all the processes will be digitized in the fund world in the future, which is not the case right now. For example, for the on and off boarding and for the subscription of a fund, you need to fill out a lot of paperwork. So you need to fill out about 20, 30 pages to subscribe, and you need to send 2 versions in paper form to the fund. This should be paperless, in my opinion, also in the fund sector in Germany. And what would be really easy to onboard customers would be a digital identity. So certain information is saved maybe on a ledger, and we can pull the information we need in order to onboard customers. And then we could also circumvent, for example, know your customer service providers and cut the intermediaries in the process, which costs a lot of money and it also costs time. You could also digitize the shares of a crypto fund. You can put them onto Ethereum, and it would be much more transparent who are the shareholders of the fund. And by doing that, you would instantly cut 2 intermediaries. You would cut the payment agent, and you would cut the depository, the securities depository. And those are a big part of the cost of a fund, for example. And doing that on-chain would save time, money, and would increase the transparency. And those shares could be tradable. So you could trade your shares to whitelisted Ethereum addresses, for example. What would be great would be some kind of stablecoin where we receive the investments. So we could instantly receive the money. We don't have to go and wait for the bank. And we can see where the money maybe comes from. And on the other hand side, if we have a stablecoin, such as the digital euro, we could instantly deliver the shares, which might be also on-chain. So the process of subscription and redemption could work in a few minutes, instead of taking maybe 2, 3 days or a week. And I already talked about that. We could also store the coins not with custodians. We have many custodians here in the room, but we could store them on-chain in smart contracts, for example. Of course, right now it only works for wrapped tokens or ERC20 tokens on Ethereum, but we could do the custody on-chain. And I guess it will develop into that towards that direction, that more and more custody goes on chain. And it's not only the tokens, it's also the shares of a fund which can go on chain, so the registrar or the securities depository. All right. So with all those changes, we could cut intermediaries. This would save a lot of time. In the end, it would save fees, and it would make crypto funds not that expensive or more inexpensive. The future will look like that more will go on-chain of all the services which are needed, and but it won't go completely on-chain. As the investors in crypto funds are mostly traditional, and they need to understand all the processes, and they need to transfer a stable coin, and I don't see it in the near future that institutional investors will understand all the on-chain processes which are needed. All right, so the answer to my question I raised in the beginning, how would the perfect crypto fund look like from my point of view, is we need a digital identity for the customers where we pull the data we need. We could do instant payment and delivery, for example, with stablecoins, such as the digital euro. The shares should be on-chain as well. The registrar should be on-chain as well, and the trading for us as a fund, maybe on DEXs, but also for the customers should be on-chain, and the custody could, for a major part, also be on-chain. So you can see the fund business will move on-chain, and we also have some providers like token sets, maybe you heard about that, or Avantgarde, or they used to be named Melonport, and they are going into that direction, but they never actually got traction up to now. So it's really interesting to observe the fund game right now, because so much is changing, and most of you are here to offer services, for example, to funds. All right, so overall you can say we are still in a pilot phase. Funds are very fresh and recent, and many just give it a try if it really works, and they try to bring some stuff on-chain, but you have to face a big legal complexity issue when dealing with the fund. So it takes time, efforts, and cost in the end. The future will look like that intermediaries are going to be cut. We will use the blockchain for making everything smoother. And, well, the future is probably, for a big part, on-chain for the fund business. All right, so, of course, questions are welcome. You can see our contact info, and we also have a booth out there, F5 Crypto. Say hello, and then we're going to talk. All right, thank you.